Hi guys, it's Amazing Purple Girl, and I'm going to continue to look at the songs of the Beatles and Tally Hall and their similarities lyrically. I will just make one correction as pointed out by Callum Fox in the comments of the first part.
Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in the church where a wedding has been. Lives in a dream. Misery fell on the town when they lost all their looks.
And since part 1 I have noticed this similarity. In part 1 I looked at the lyrics of Rob Cantor. In this part I will be looking at Joe Hawley's songs. I am going to approach this a bit differently to how I did with the video on Rob. This is because Joe's songs don't so closely align lyrically with the Beatles, but the themes do. In the first video I explained that I took inspiration from MBTI, more specifically 2 videos made by Frank James. He made one on how different Beatles songs are sensing or intuitive, and one on how they are thinking or feeling. So I want to do this with most of Joe's songs. Some I will compare to the Beatles, however. Songs Joe wrote for Tally Hall. I am not including Mucka Blucka because it is just gangster rap as chicken and cat noises. I was going to compare Spring in a Storm to Fixing a Hole, written by Paul, but then I had to stop and think. Fixing a Hole is a very practical song. Fixing a hole, filling the cracks, painting a room. However, these activities are being to stop the mind from running away, which seems to be a very abstract idea. This song is both sensory and intuitive, which is the beauty of music. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other. Just as a person doesn't just have to have the traits of the MBTI they most closely align with, they can have other traits in there too. A feeling person can also think. I still see these songs on a similar theme, singing about the rain and complaining about the silly people.
Won't you please stop complaining? I'm playing a song. When the rain came down that day and it drained my soul away, I'm fixing a hole where the rain gets in and stops my mind from wandering. See the people standing there who disagree but never win, and wonder why they don't get in my door.
I can also compare this song to Across the Universe, written by John Lennon.
Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup as they slip away across the universe.
I'd also like to compare the lyrics of Hymn for a Scarecrow to a song, which is Fall on the Hill. They both seem to be songs about someone who can't give answers but sees everything going on in the world.
Birds may believe at a distance. You wear a grin and keep perfectly still. Alone on a hill, the man with the foolish grin is keeping perfectly still.
There is also a song that John wrote after his time with the Beatles called Love. I found a lyric that is echoed in Hymn for a Scarecrow.
Real is a feeling and feeling is real.
Love is real, real is love. Love is feeling, feeling love.
Next to The Bidding, a song about men getting literally auctioned off to any women who will buy them.
Going once, going twice, every man here has a price. Over where, over there, sold to not a single lady here.
This is obviously an abstract concept. I know man auctions do happen for charity, but I think this is men trying to sell the idea of their prospects, which aren't good, and therefore intuitive. If you remember from part 1, I explained how Rob writes primarily in the sensing and feeling. So alongside the intuitive, I hope to show that Joe also writes with the thinking trait. His songs just don't seem to have feeling in the way Rob's and Paul's do. I also think You Never Give Me Your Money has a similar theme to the bidding.
Out of college, money spent, see no future, pay no rent, all the money's gone, nowhere to go.
It's basically a song about no faith in the person, no money, just funny paper, all promises, and it never works out. So that ticks 3 of the songs off the list. Banana Man is a song that is contested as to its meaning. Many people suggest it is about drug abuse. Others say religion is a theme. Others still say it has no meaning. I have to say I can't see a Joe Hawley song to have no deeper meaning, even if this is what he'd have us believe. It definitely uses the thinking trait rather than feeling, but is it sensory or intuitive? Well, the idea of this entity providing bananas, or so we're led to believe, is definitely abstract. Why are the songbirds singing to let spirits free? Why would no bananas make you go insane? Because it is all in his head.
You see Banana Man hopping over on the white hot sand. Here he come with some for me.
I think the best example of this in a Beatles song is definitely Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Joe was once asked if he did LSD, and he replied, only if they meant Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Picture yourself in a boat on a river with tangerine trees and marmalade skies. Somebody calls you, you answer quite slowly. A girl with kaleidoscope eyes.
Lennon claimed that the song was a response to a picture painted by his almost 4-year-old son Julian. John's mind had wandered towards Alice in Wonderland. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was born when he took images from Julian's picture and combined them with elements of carols, stories and poems. We all know Joe is clearly a fan of Alice. He has used imagery in a few of his videos and lyrics. Even though I don't believe that he took inspiration from Lucy for this particular song, it is interesting that both writers have been interested in this piece of fiction, and you could easily see Banana Man as a prominent figure in the world of Lewis Carroll. I have explored the lyrics of And in a previous video. This is sort of a protest song, and John Lennon was famously opposed to war, writing such songs as Imagine and Give Peace a Chance. Joe also chose to put John and Yoko in his lyrics. These two were a force for the anti-war movement, and I now wonder if this was the reason for their inclusion. In my previous video, I couldn't work out why they were here, as all the other Ands were opposed to each other. These two are opposed with each other. For the Beatles, I chose to look at revolution. You say you want a revolution? Well, damn well get out there and make it happen.
When the golden rule and the jungle meet, there'll be nothing to love and there'll be no one to beat. Capitalists, communists, you did the hokey pokey and it went like this.
We all want to change the world, but when you talk about destruction, don't you know that you can count me out? But if you want money for people with minds that hate, all I can tell you is, brother, you have to wait.
When I was making the lyrical examination of all Tally Hall members video, I mentioned that I didn't know what a lady was trying to say. It's been said that Joe remarked he wrote it about his grandmother. So I guess there is no deeper meaning, which kind of contradicts what I was saying earlier about Banana Man, but never mind. She's just a lady that taught him to be a gentleman. She was good and evil, which I guess is Joe's way of saying there is some bad in all of us.
I know a lady, good and evil.
I think the Beatles have plenty of songs about women who aren't all good. One of my absolute favourite Beatles songs is Girl, written by John and Paul and sung by John.
She's the kind of girl who puts you down when friends are there, you feel a fool.
So we are left with a handful of songs that I want to look at purely with an MBTI eye. Ruler of Everything, Hidden in the Sand, Sacred Beast, Turn the Lights Off. I feel like Ruler of Everything was the song that set me off on this journey when I had watched the 2 videos by Frank James. He mentioned Strawberry Fields Forever as a song that is abstract. I think it's fairly obvious that the same can be said of Ruler of Everything.
If this mirror were clear, I'd be standing so tall. No one I think is in my tree.
As Frank points out, the tree isn't real, it's a metaphorical abstract tree. I believe the same can be said of the mirror that should be clearer. Juno doesn't mean that he would be literally taller if a mirror were clearer. He's talking about self-reflection, and he feels small as a person because of what he sees being reflected. Both songs are also thinking rather than feeling. John Lennon wants to take you down to this metaphorical place and talks about how nothing is real. There's nothing to get hung up about. Joe Hawley wants you to realise human life is a fleeting thing, and the abstract concept of time is in charge. Juno might have an argument, but he was never going to win. Hidden in the Sand struck me because of the line,
You told me to buy a pony, but all I wanted was you.
Digging deep in the Beatles discography, we find a song called Dig a Pony.
Dig a pony. I told you so. All I want is you.
Possibly this is just a coincidence, but I thought it was a fun one to mention. Hidden in the Sand is completely abstract. Absolutely nothing in that song is tangible or concrete. The sand is metaphorical, as is the band, as is being told to buy a pony. Might it surprise you to say it is thinking rather than feeling? But Purple Girl, it is about love. Yes, but think about the way love is being described, and that's the point. It is all description.
You told me you fell in love with it. I wondered if I could hold it and fall in love with it too.
Turn the Lights Off is an extremely abstract song about moving from puberty to adulthood, and has a music video that explores the absurdity of the fear that can be wrought by growing up. Once again, I don't believe this is a feeling song, with all the language being that of thinking. Each line in the verses consists of few words and feel like instructions on surviving the nightmare. You don't actually feel any fear from the song lyrics.
Shut the closet, get under the covers, blow the nights off, sleepy child, spark desire.
It was difficult to compare this to a Beatles song. As I said in part 1, they don't all have to be influenced by Beatles lyrics. However, I would like to mention some similar themes in the song Yesterday, a song by Paul.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay.
Yesterday, the word could refer to childhood. In childhood is freedom, but growing up brings all the issues with it. Finally is Sacred Beast, another very abstract song. The Sacred Beast stands for something, which I have my own ideas about. I rather think this song might be about relationships and slaying certain urges. We know that Joe is not shy of writing songs that are about sex. If we look at We're Bed and or Yes Please, which has been explained in a video by Project YBTFC and I helped interpret.
Our mission is to slay the sacred beast, who has come to claim our innocence at least.
I am not meaning that the innocence represents adolescence, but more a naivety that occurs upon entering into a new relationship. I've left this song for last as it's one I have struggled with over the meaning. There aren't many songs on a theme of this nature by the Beatles. We have Happiness is a Warm Gun, which is a metaphor.
When I hold you in my arms, and I feel my finger on your trigger.
And I Want You, She's So Heavy is very much trying to battle urges.
I want you so bad, it's driving me mad, it's driving me mad.
Of course, these comparisons only hold if you see Sacred Beast the same way I do, so this last part is definitely the most tenuous. And that's it for this video, examining what kind of writer Joe Hawley is and how much lyrics by the Beatles may have influenced his own writing. This video has taken me quite a while as I argued with myself several times on what I wanted to convey. It is only fair to make a third part, looking at some of the lyrics from Andrew Horowitz, who we know is a big fan of the Beatles. However, I will only make the video if I can find those similarities. So the creation of such a video will be in question, and I will make an update on any progress down the line. Thank you for watching. I hope this has been entertaining and worth your time.